and welcome here to Talk FCB, and welcome back to the channel, guys. And ultimately, here we are again. It is a very, very disappointing situation that we find ourselves in. I want to thank you guys for coming back here and still, once again, getting involved in the video. But what we are going to do today, we're going to analyse what went wrong. How exactly did Granada expose our weaknesses? What are those weaknesses? And most importantly now, going forward, ahead of a huge summer for this club, we've got a new president. We have Laporta now in charge. We've got to make changes. And once again yesterday, the frailties in this team, the problems that we have, they were very much highlighted. We can't ignore them. So, let's discuss. Because first of all, let's take a look at the morning papers in Barcelona, and there was absolutely no holding back from Mundo Deportivo and indeed Sport there, both of them coming out with really strong headlines, saying that what Barca did yesterday, the performance that we saw, it was unforgivable. And I do believe here, this wasn't just about one game. Yes, you could say that up until now, we've been getting ourselves back in the title race, we've been really trying there, closing the gap, but we've seen warning signs. It's not just about here one defeat. It's not just about here brushing that under the carpet, because if we keep doing that, if we keep ignoring the problems that we saw again yesterday, the embarrassments, these kind of feelings, they'll continue. We cannot have that. So let's first of all start discussing the individual problems from yesterday's game. Before then, we are going to move on to the collective problems that I feel we saw there against Granada at the Camp Nou. And I want to start here with Samuel Umtiti. Now, I think when we all saw the lineup, it was a huge shock. And I really do mean that. It was a big shock to see Umtiti starting in this game. And I think it was even more of a shock, given that over the past few days, we've heard significant transfer rumours. You've had the reliable Fabrizio Romano come out just days ago saying that this summer, Titty, he's going to leave. We've heard links there to Manchester United. We've heard links there to Zenit St. Petersburg. Titty is set to leave, so why would you play him? Why would you actually put him in there now? Looking at what's going to happen in the coming months, he doesn't have a future here. I think we've all known that for quite a while. I just don't understand why he started, because you look at it there. The last time that he started a game, well over a month ago, nearly 2 months ago there, at the start of March, and in that game, subbed off at half-time. I just cannot understand that decision from Ronald Koeman. It was unnecessary. That's what I would say there. Replacing Longley with Umtiti, it just didn't need to be done. Then, of course, we move on to Sergi Roberto, who is probably the number one target after this game. Plenty of frustration going his way for his part in the goals that we conceded yesterday. And I just don't understand, again, the insistence from Ronald Koeman to bring Roberto in. It seems like ever since Roberto here has come back from his injury, any opportunity that he has to play him, he has done. Even when Dest started the game, you look at it there against Villarreal. Dest started that game, he was playing pretty well, the team were playing well, but then at half-time, Roberto comes on. Why? And in that game, he did nothing. We had a really poor second half as a team. Roberto added nothing going forward. It was absolutely non-existent from him. Defensively, again, there are concerns, and I just don't understand why. Looking at that kind of display, like Koeman has thought, okay, I'm going to start you in a massive game that it was against Granada, makes no sense. And it has often been said about Sergi Roberto because he can play in several positions, and of course he is respected at the club. He's been here a very, very long time, and it's often been said that he contributes in attack, that he really gets involved there in the build-up. But I just want to draw your attention here to this from yesterday. This is all of Sergi Roberto's passes against Granada, and what does that say? Every single time, pretty much, it's gone back. He plays it safe. He goes absolutely nowhere, and I would rather have somebody like Sergiño Dest, who, yes, at times he'll take a risk. He'll lose possession. He'll try a dribble, and it won't quite come off, but I'd rather that. I'd rather somebody there who's going to try and make something happen than somebody who'll never even make it that far, who won't even try, won't even have the bottle there to try something. And that's even before we get onto the defensive side. The defensive side, that right side yesterday, it was a disaster. Mingueza and Dest, I think they've worked really, really well as a partnership there on that right side. But Roberto and Mingueza, It was an absolute nightmare. You look at it for the first goal, Mingueza, he should cut out the ball. Roberto, he's nowhere near. Machis there. It's like he just walks away from him. Roberto is nowhere near close enough. He doesn't track him. He's got no chance of recovering that because of his lack of pace. And even on the second goal, close down the ball. Just make an effort there to take 1 or 2 steps closer there to stop that cross coming in. It's half-hearted. It was much like the team yesterday. There wasn't enough urgency. There wasn't enough effort. And that, for me, it is not good enough. And then, guys, we do move on to Ter Stegen. Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, who has been receiving quite a lot of criticism from Barça fans. And not only that either, he has also received a lot of criticism as well from the media in Spain too, because it's been widely pointed out yesterday that throughout the entire 90 minutes, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, he failed to save a single shot that came his way in yesterday's game. Now, of course, you could make the point that Granada only had 2 shots. They only had their 2 attempts on goal in the entire game, but then you'd also have to say, of those 2 shots, they both ended up as goals. Now, I don't think we lost because of Ter Stegen. I think it would be a big overreaction. I think it would be going too far to say, you know what, it's all on Ter Stegen, but I think he's got to do more. I think we've felt this now as the season has gone on. There have been moments where Ter Stegen, where maybe he hasn't done enough. And I think you look at the goal yesterday, the way that Machis there, he's one-on with Ter Stegen. Ter Stegen, he doesn't seem to like coming off his line. He doesn't seem to like to want to try and close down that space and sort of cut off the options for the striker. I've mentioned this before, and as you can see there, Machis is given time, and he shouldn't really be scoring so easily from that kind of angle. And the problem is, it was pretty much a carbon copy of what happened just a few days ago against Villarreal. Because in that game, again Chukwueze, he's in on goal, he has so much time to think about the finish. This time Ter Stegen, he comes out, but he doesn't do enough again. Chukwueze takes the ball around him, scores very easily, and that is the problem. Because in a game like this, when you know that you're the last line of defence, goalkeepers know that it's all on them if the defence fails, and they did. And that's one thing that you have to say there about Ter Stegen. He hasn't exactly got the most stable defence in front of him, but you want your goalkeeper to bail you out. You want them in these kind of moments to say, you know what, I'll save the day. Yesterday, Ter Stegen didn't. The team lost the game. But of course, guys, an individual that we have to discuss wasn't even on the field. We've got to talk here about Ronald Koeman and the decisions that he made, which I think certainly there was plenty of questionable ones and things that we have to ask more of our head coach here of Barcelona, because obviously there were mistakes in the team selection. We've spoken about that already. Titty starting, Roberto starting, and even more so I'd look there and say, you know what, you look at that back line, you look at the line that you decided to field in this game, Ter Stegen, Alba, Titty, Piqué, Roberto, all of those players started against Roma all those years ago when they weren't playing well, even back then. All these years later, they're still starting at this club. It's absolutely mental to me. And number 2, you've got to talk about Riqui Puig. A lot of people don't really like this because they say, you know what, it's not really one of the issues, not really something that would have changed the game. But I just don't get it. I just don't understand here. This personal grudge that Koeman has. You think about it yesterday. He finally rests Pedri. He says, you know what, I'm not going to start Pedri. Instead, somebody else is going to come in. Okay, Elias starts. Fine, that's fair enough. But as the game went on, Koeman there wanted to change it. Instead of bringing Riqui on, giving him an opportunity, trying something different, he just brings Pedri on instead. And even as the game went on further, no sign again of Riqui Puig. And I just do not understand here this personal vendetta. And I've said before, personal grudges like this, in the end, the only person that it's going to hurt, it's not going to be Riqui Puig, it's going to be Koeman. If you start having these problems and you start dividing yourself there between certain players in the squad, it never ends well. And the other thing that really does concern me when it comes to Koeman is the fact that, yes, this season we've made several comebacks. And yes, of course, some good work has been done in terms of our mentality. But there's just something for me about Koeman's in-game management. Because every single time that we're behind in a big game, that we're behind there when we're chasing a goal, when we need some sort of change, I never, ever feel confident. I never feel as though, okay, Koeman is going to do something now to find that way through. He's going to find a solution. Because I never, ever get that feeling. Yesterday, he took off Sergio Busquets. Why? I have no idea. The best player on the field for Barcelona yesterday, he takes him off, leaves Sergi Roberto out there for the full 90 minutes, and then it's just a case of throwing on wide men. You've got Dembele comes on, Trincao comes on, and then Piqué up front, and we're just crossing it. It was complete panic from Barcelona. There was no structure in our play. There was no solution. And for me, Koeman there, he hasn't shown it so far this season, and yesterday was another example. But I think above everything, guys, above all of that, above the individual mistakes, above the players, above the coach, the one thing that really does disappoint me most about yesterday's loss, it comes down to mentality. Because before the game, we were talking there about the different pressure. The fact that going into this game, for the first time in a long, long time, Barça were going to have that tag as the favourites. We were going to be the ones who could become the leaders of the league. And at the end of it all, when it all comes down to it, they couldn't handle it. They bottled it under that pressure. They could not handle the weight of expectation, and that is gutting for me, because this team have worked so hard. They have done, over these past few months, some really, really good things. But when it came down to it, when it really, really counted, we've fallen. And that, it hurts more than anything, because we should be top. We should have taken that opportunity yesterday that was presented to us, but we fell flat. It blew up in our face, and I still, even right now, I can't believe it. So obviously, guys, right now, things are difficult for us Barcelona fans. The emotions, still even today, I'm still angry about it. I'm still shocked at the performance that we saw from our team yesterday. But, of course, I have to say, there's 5 games left. I'm not saying right now that we're going to be favourites, that we're going to win the league for sure. But look, we're going to keep trying. There's 5 more games, and it's not going to be too long until we're going to Mestalla to face Valencia. Will Barca bounce back, or is this the end of our title run? Let me know your thoughts, and indeed how you're feeling down below, guys. Thanks, like I say, for coming back and getting involved. I hope you're all doing okay today. We'll keep fighting until the end. But until next time, guys, as always, Visca El Barça!